This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
It is Friday, November 7th, day 38 of the Democrat shutdown of the federal government. Today, there's expected to be 600 flights canceled, thousands delayed around the country. There's nobody who's more distressed, angry, upset than somebody who goes to the airport for a trip and getting ready to go, all excited, and they're told, sorry, your flight's been canceled. That is real pain for the voters, for the public, for the people. And here's the plain truth. Here's a fact. This is not disputable. Democrats do not care. This pain, these problems people are going to have, people who aren't getting their food stamps, TSA agents who aren't getting paid, military people who aren't getting paid, people who can't go to national parks. It's all part of the shutdown. And Democrats are okay with that. I'm not going to say this. I have grudging respect for that. I've said it many times. But the difference between Democrats and Republicans in this country right now, in this current climate, is that one side fights dirty. One side fights to win. They don't mess around. They know that their base, their voters, the poor, the underclass are suffering, are not getting their benefits. They don't care. It's worth it. They don't care that people's flights are being delayed and canceled. They don't care that the military is not getting paid. It means nothing. It is war to them. It is life or death. It is win or lose, period. And they are going to fight to win. And I'll say this now, it doesn't bring me any pleasure. Democrats will win this battle. They're like the rabbit and the coyote. One of them is running for his life. The other is running for a meal. The one running for his life is going to run harder. They are fighting to win, and they will win. Mostly because they have no problem lying. They have no problem every day tweeting and posting and telling interviewers that the Republicans shut down the government. We're 38 days into this, and Democrats are still saying Republicans control the Congress. They control the Senate and the White House. The shutdown is on them. And the media generally parrots that lie, and people just go on with their day and say, yeah, Trump shut down the government. Okay, follow-up question. How did he do that? You need 60 votes. They don't have 60 votes. All but one Democrat is voting. Today is going to be the 15th vote. All but one Democrat in the Senate will vote to continue the shutdown. That's indisputable, inarguable. Liz Warren, Chris Murphy will vote to continue the shutdown and immediately go in front of the cameras and say, Trump shut down the government. Republicans shut down the government. That's a lie, but they don't care. Nobody lies more comfortably, casually than Liz Warren or Chris Murphy. It's what they do. It's how they're built. Some part of me just wishes we had that kind of will. They have the will to win this battle. They have the will to go in front of the cameras every friggin' day and lie about this. I wish we had the will to inflict that kind of pain, to say, who cares if thousands of people are stranded at airports? Who cares if SNAP recipients don't get their food? Who cares if the military goes without pay? We're going to win. That's behind the scenes, in their meetings, they say, we're winning. And that's all that matters. Get me that headline from Axios. This is a story from Axios, a left-wing outfit, a media outlet that generally does the bidding of the Democrats. And occasionally, I guess, they have the impulse to tell the truth. And yesterday they have a story. It didn't get a lot of play because, it doesn't help the Democrats. but they had this moment of clarity where they tell the truth and about the shutdown and what it's all about. It's amazing that this isn't the lead story for everyone today. Here's your headline: Emboldened Democrats push to prolong government shutdown. That's Axios. They know it worked Tuesday night. They know it helped. They know their voters are stupid or just committed to stopping Trump at every turn. So they're going to prolong the government shutdown because it's working and because they have no compunction to tell you the truth. That they will go before you and say, "Yep, it's Trump's starving children." And the media, for the most part, I mean, they have those moments, but for the most part will say, Trump is starving. How is that possible? How? Can you explain how Trump is starving children? Trump wants to open the government. Trump's with the Republicans. He wants to open the government. Republicans want to open the government. They want to pass the, I can't believe we're still talking about this, pass the continuing resolution, just like they did in March, just like they did 14 times under Joe Biden. Democrats saw this as an opportunity, a chance to beat the Republicans, to embarrass them and win elections on Tuesday night. And it worked. It worked. They especially in Virginia, where a lot of federal workers furloughed or fired ran to the polls to vote against Trump. That was the story in Virginia. That was the story in New Jersey. New York, different story. Trump didn't matter in New York. Trump had nothing to do with the election of a Marxist Muslim in New York. That had nothing to do, hell, it had nothing to do with politics. It was just tribalism. It was just the foreigners who got to this country 10 minutes ago voting for another foreigner. That's what happened in New York. That's an outlier. But in Pennsylvania, in Virginia, in California, people ran to the polls to vote against Trump because Trump has been, Trump's the boogeyman. He will always be the boogeyman. But they're going to win. John Thune, he's not going to get rid of the filibuster. He's going to cave. They're going to give in. Democrats will win once again because Democrats fight dirty, which brings us to the queen, to the ultimate dirty fighter. Nancy Pelosi announced, we told you about this earlier in the week. Well, she finally announced she's stepping down. Yes, in the prime of her career, she's stepping away. 85 years old, belongs in assisted living somewhere, no longer has her wits about her, can't even speak without her teeth falling out, can't walk. She's finally stepping down. And this is a big moment. This is the person that sets has for years set the agenda, set the example. She will do anything to win. Hell, she set up January 6th. That's her legacy. She admitted it on camera when her daughter made that documentary that she intentionally didn't call out the National Guard, that she wanted what happened on January 6th to happen. And again, to her credit, I tip my cap. It worked. It became the ultimate talking point for Democrats forever. It's their favorite day, January 6th. It's their Christmas. They love January 6th. They will talk about it forever. And it wouldn't have been possible if the Speaker of the House at the time had any conscience, any decency. She doesn't. She fights dirty. She fought dirty her whole career, and she won. This is a woman who just epitomizes corruption in D.C., the corruption of the swamp, of the deep state. She got fabulously wealthy while in office, while in public service. She would just look in the camera when asked about this and just dismiss it. Just get away from me. Asked about insider stock trading. What do you mean? This woman is so thoroughly corrupt. When she arrived in D.C. 40 years ago, she was worth $160,000. She's now worth 300 million. She outperformed Warren Buffett in the stock market. She was the greatest stock picker, the greatest day trader in history. We've never seen anything like it. And somehow it's just like, just like a side note. Yeah, she got rich, but she served her constituents. Here's just a quick rundown. She, as I said, outperformed Warren Buffett the last 10 years. This is hard to believe this is real. Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio grew by 720%. Warren Buffett, 185%. She had 4 times the gains of Warren Buffett, who's generally considered the greatest portfolio manager of all time. She didn't just exceed Warren Buffett, 720 to 185. Does anyone want to make the case that that's legitimate, that that's above board? You can't. You just can't. That is amazing. She should be looked at as a stone cold criminal. She, while in office, while in the halls of Congress in power, she enriched her family like nobody we've ever seen before. And it's not a big deal. Democrats are saying, boy, she was great. She was so effective as a speaker. How about the fact that she's corrupt, that she's a criminal? Shouldn't that matter at this point? I know she's not going to go to jail. I know she's not going to get thrown out of office. She was San Francisco liberal, and there was never any chance she was going to lose. She became speaker, the first female speaker, and she ruled like a tyrant in office, in that position of power. She's stepping down now, and here's another example of how Democrats will do or say anything to retain power, to help her retire with dignity. Get me Joe Biden's tweet. We're gonna talk about the difference between Joe Biden and most Democrats, all Democrats today, and Donald Trump. Here's Joe Biden on Nancy Pelosi retiring. He tweets, or someone tweeted for him, "I've often said that Nancy Pelosi was the best Speaker of the House in American history. It's why I awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. When I was president, we worked together to grow our economy, create millions of jobs, make historic investments in our nation's future. She has devoted much of her life to this country, and America will always be grateful. Jill and I wish Nancy and Paul the best." Joe Biden hates Nancy Pelosi. Joe Biden knows she led the coup. She stabbed him in the back. She's the reason, more than anyone else, that he quit the race last July. He despises her. We know that. We've heard from Hunter, who's more honest than Dad in these moments. That is a lie. It is a lie from Joe Biden, a guy who lies as comfortably and casually as anyone. We know he hates her, and yet he's going to play along and pretend that this rotten, evil woman is finally stepping down, is finally going away. He should have said nothing. That would have been appropriate. Now, Donald Trump, every president in history would have played along, would have just said, oh, she was a worthy adversary. She was tough, and we had our battles, but I wish her well. God bless Trump. This is why Trump is Trump. This is why people love him. He doesn't hold back. Here's what he posted on a Truth Social today. We played you the clip from yesterday where he talked about her and called her evil, which she is. He says, Nancy Pelosi, the old and broken political hack who impeached me twice and lost, is finally calling it quits. She illegally made a fortune in the stock market, ripped off the American public, and was a disaster for America. I'm glad to see the stench of Nancy Pelosi go. Now, today, everyone on cable news and all the podcasters and all the New York Times and Pod Save America will say how classless and disgusting this is. Well, is it true? That's all I want to know. Yeah, it's true. He's right. But the thing that's great about it is he's not going to lie to you. Again, the most transparent, the most authentic president we've ever seen. He's telling you how he really feels. Joe Biden is lying to you. Joe Biden hates her as much as Donald Trump hates her. And he's going to pretend, oh, yeah, she was a good friend and an ally. What happened in July, Joe? Are you going to tell us? What happened? Why'd you quit the race? What was her role? Are we ever going to know? I mean, Kamala Harris won't tell us. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, they won't tell us. Joe, what do you got to lose? Tell us what really happened in July. Tell us how Nancy betrayed you, how Nancy shivved you in the back. That was a kind of a big moment in American history. That's part of her legacy. And somehow he won't touch it. Trump will. Trump will tell you the truth, and like it or not. And I think it's refreshing. I think we need this. I think every eulogy or every farewell story column about Nancy has to include the fact that she made $300 million. She's beyond wealthy, and she did it through insider trading. That isn't even disputable, do you think? Do you have another explanation? How she got 720% gain in her stock portfolio? How she outperformed everybody? There's a account on X that tracks her, the Nancy Pelosi tracker, the Pelosi tracker. It's mind-blowing. She is as corrupt as anyone we've ever seen. She enriched herself. She didn't enrich her constituents. Have you been to San Francisco? She doesn't care about San Francisco. She doesn't care about the American people. Do you think Nancy Pelosi for a second cares that air traffic controllers aren't getting paid or people aren't getting their SNAP benefits? That means nothing to her. That's who she is, a total fraud. Give me the farewell post that her team put out on X. This makes me sick. Nancy Pelosi and the next person that calls her a devout Catholic, I'm gonna strangle if I can. I mean, nothing bothers me, annoys me more than Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and Ted Kennedy, devout Catholics. Nobody did more to promote the cause of unfettered abortion on demand in the 9th month. Doesn't matter. Nancy Pelosi never did anything to save the children. She was as staunch an abortion proponent as anyone this country's ever seen. She is not a devout Catholic. You can't call yourself that. I'm sorry. Here she is, Nancy Pelosi, the single most corrupt person we've ever seen in D.C., announcing her farewell. Good.
And I've always honored the song of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace, the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final year of service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power. We have made history. We have made progress. We have always led the way. And now we must continue to do so by remaining full participants in our democracy and fighting for American ideals.
Enough of Nancy Pelosi. What'd you say about St. Francis? Oh, if you're just listening, the video takes you through churches, through Catholic churches. And she talks about St. Francis and her faith. It's a shock she didn't combust in that moment or get hit by lightning. She is just so despicable, so disgusting. And you might think, oh, good, we get rid of Nancy. What happens now? Well, I got news for you. This is typical. She's out. She's going to be replaced. And the person who replaces her, they won't have the power. They won't be speaker. They won't be, this icon, but they will be more radical. They will be you will see someone to the left of the squad who
to be a Somali communist.
Yeah, I don't know if they have any Somalis. What they do have is some freaks out there. And right now, one of the people running to replace Nancy Pelosi is a guy named Scott Wiener. Have you heard about Scott Wiener? Scott Wiener is a pervert and a freak. He's a state senator, I believe, out there right now. And he's expected to run, and it's San Francisco, so he may win. And again, this is the way the Democrats are going. When someone quits, retires, or loses, he's replaced by a radical, by a communist, a lunatic. Scott Wiener has quite the legacy. Scott Wiener, let me get to a couple of things Scott Wiener's done. He's a gay guy, a huge LGBTQ activist. He's the ultimate proponent for drag queens in schools and libraries. Here's what Scott Wiener has done. He has sponsored or passed these bills. A California bill to no longer make it a felony to knowingly give sex partners HIV. He sponsored and passed a bill to decriminalize, to make it legal to knowingly give your sex partner HIV. People voted on that and it won. He sponsored a bill to lower the penalties for sex with minors within a 10-year age gap. So you can, if you're 24 and you have sex with a 14-year-old, he sponsored a bill to lower the penalties for that, essentially legalize it. He voted against a bill that would increase the penalties for soliciting sex with a 16 or 17-year-old. One of only 2 senators to vote against that. He is as radical. He likes to walk around without a shirt and he marches, he dresses up and marches in these gay pride parades. He's a freak. He's going to be the congressman from San Francisco. So it's going to get worse. Democrats are going to continue to be captured by the far left radicals in their party.
They're talking about AOC taking over for Schumer.
AOC's going. If she doesn't run for president, it won't even be a race. If she announces she's running for Senate, challenging Schumer, he'll quit. Trump said that. Trump said he'll just retire.
If today she came out and said, all right, Chuck needs to get his act together, we need to reopen the government, and just went completely against him in the shutdown, wouldn't that just lock it right now?
Yes, but here's the thing. She would never do that because she is, again, one of those people who is willing to fight dirty. She doesn't care if kids are hungry or TSA agents are not getting paid. That means nothing. To AOC, she's an ideologue, and this is an existential battle. Everything is. She has no threat to lose office. She doesn't care what voters or what people think. She's fighting an ideological battle. If she challenges Schumer, he's out. She's a senator. If she runs for president, she might win the nomination or earn a slot as the VP, a half-wit former bartender who is all in on her party's move towards socialism, communism. She was the biggest supporter, the most effective surrogate for Zoran Mamdani. She's thrilled that her home city is now being run by a Marxist Muslim. She's all in. It's good. It's good for Republicans. We need more of these lunatics to show people just how far gone the Democrat Party is. And we got more on that today. We got the mayor. It is amazing. When after Tuesday night, I was looking for some, good news. There wasn't a lot out there. Hell, there wasn't any. Well, the Somali guy, the Captain Phillips, I'm the captain now guy, he lost in a very close race to Jacob Fry, the incumbent. Well, Jacob Fry, the incumbent, is an American, I think. But what happened in Minneapolis it's worse than the Somali guy winning. It's worse. We'll get to him. I'll explain why. And Sydney Sweeney, the actress, the spokesman for American Eagle, did an interview with GQ, and she showed everybody, she showed Republicans how to do it. It was spectacular. I love this woman. We'll get to Sydney Sweeney and Jacob Fry. And we have a new spokesperson for common sense in this insane world. The woman at the Gold's Gym in LA who went nuts when a man started waving his junk in front of her in the women's room. I love this lady. Her name is Tish Hyman. We'll tell you about Tish Hyman and what she's doing, what she's fighting for. I think we're going to hear a lot from Tish. I think Tish isn't going away, and just like with Riley Gaines and so many others, she's going to win this. It's a small bit of good news in this kind of depressing week. We'll get to all that, but first.
Excuse me.
If there's something all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. You know, kind of like President Trump, just going hard 24/7. The difference is Donald Trump doesn't need sleep. You do. I do. It's the most important thing to good health. I was in a horrible cycle that had no end in sight. I knew I had to find something to break me free of that cycle. That's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values: hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-based ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, you can get the best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry for up to 40% off. All right, we keep sending in the comments here. We'll get to comments. It's Friday. I like to read the comments on Friday, but we got to get to Sydney Sweeney, who is just, I love her. I love Sydney Sweeney. I want to see that movie. She's playing a female boxer. She put on 35 pounds. I don't like that, but I assume it's, temporary to play this female boxer. I hope the movie does great. I hope everything she does succeeds, because as you recall, the dumbest controversy in the last year easily was this American Eagle ad she did, which was a great ad. It was like the antidote to the wokeness in the advertising world. She talked about her good genes. It was a play on words. Yeah, she's got good genes. And then when you saw it the first time, you said, what's wrong with that? She has good genes. She's beautiful. We say that all the time about athletes. When their parents are athletes, when it's whoever, Patrick Mahomes or Steph Curry, they got good genes. Look at their fathers. Look how good they are. No one gave it a thought. Good genes didn't mean anything. But in today's climate, that was controversial. It was kind of laughable when the people in, Democrats and the media wanted you to think it was racist to say Sydney Sweeney, this gorgeous model actress, has good genes. I'm still not sure why, but whatever. They made it out to be racist. It was one of the most effective ads we've ever seen. American Eagle stood by her. She didn't back down. And she's out promoting this movie now. So she's doing interviews. And she did an interview with GQ, a video with the GQ writer. And the GQ writer is just exactly what you'd expect. This liberal Karen, this woman who genuinely believed that the ad was racist because, someone told her it was racist and she went along with it. And she's interviewing Sydney about whatever, promoting the movie. And I just love the way Sydney handles this. She doesn't play along. She doesn't explain. She doesn't say, let me give you my side. She just says, get lost with that. This was perfect. Check it out.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
That's it. When I have an issue I want to speak about, you'll hear from me. But the best part was the question. This hack. When people say there was criticism that white people shouldn't, speak about like genetic superiority. Well, they didn't, lady. Who spoke about superiority? She spoke about good genes. Because she has good genes. Because she's good looking. Because she fits nicely into those genes. And this woman, her name is Catherine Stoffel. She doesn't have good genes. How's that? She's white, but she doesn't have good genes because she's homely and she's jealous. She's bitter. Oh, talking to this beautiful actress. And, people shouldn't really joke about that. It wasn't a joke. It was a commercial and it worked. And they sold lots of jeans. That was the point.
Well, what about her dress from the other night? Did that work?
Yeah, that worked too. She asked about that. I love that. She could have said, well, why is it racist? I don't think it was racist. All I did was talk about it. She didn't even bother with that. She's looking at this woman she knows hates her. She knows she's jealous of her. She's probably going to pan the movie and say she did a poor job. She's not a good actress, whatever. She says, if I have something to say, I'll let you know, lady. Any more questions? That's how it's done. That's how they should all handle it. And I want to get to another woman who has shown everybody how it's done. Her name is Tish Hyman, my new favorite rapper. I guess she's a rapper and a singer and a wannabe actress. I think she's going to get some opportunities, I hope, because this is what it takes. It takes brave women, courageous women to push back on the trans insanity. It's going our way. It's not working out for them. It's hard to believe, like 5 years ago, this was routine. A man his name is Grant Freeman, but he changed it to Alexis. He's now known as Alexis Black because, he's a woman. And as is almost always the case, he is a freak. He is a piece of freaking garbage. We'll get to Grant's history, but he gets off, like many of these men do, on making women uncomfortable. That's his thing. That's his fetish. He wants to make you uncomfortable. So he calls himself a woman, wears a little sports bra. He's not really trying that hard. I mean, he doesn't look in any way, shape like a woman. I mean, he's a guy. And he goes to gyms, various gyms, and he gets off on going in the women's room, in the locker room, and getting naked and making women uncomfortable. Well, Tish wasn't taking any of this. Probably already seen this, but she went right to the front desk at Gold's Gym and says, there's a man in the locker room, and this is LA. So what do you think happened? They kicked her out and they defended this freak's right to make their customers uncomfortable in the women's locker room. Here's Tish Hyman with her initial reaction to this disturbed individual invading her space.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room! And that's why I'm getting kicked out, and I want to make sure the girls know!
And then she went on, she's done a bunch of interviews and just said, she's gay, she's black, but she doesn't want men in the locker room. And here's what you have to keep in mind as we get to Grant or Alexis. Wait till you hear why he calls himself Alexis. This guy is seriously disturbed. But keep this in mind. Every single elected Democrat, every one, in the country, everyone in Washington, they were given a chance to vote on this. Men, women, and girls space, protect women and girls spaces bill. That was the bill. And every single Democrat voted against it. Every single elected Democrat wants this freak in the woman's room. They want it. They want to protect him. They don't care about Tish. They don't care about Riley Gaines. They don't care about your daughter, your wife. They don't care. They prioritize this mentally ill man over women. So Alexis Grant, he's doing interviews too. So you're thinking, he's going to be somewhat sympathetic. He's just confused. He just wants to work out. No, that's not the story. That's not what he's looking for. He is really enjoying this dynamic where he gets to make women uncomfortable. He gets to strip naked around women and make them flip out like Tish did, and other women. Most of them probably just look the other way and keep to themselves. But he made the wrong woman uncomfortable. Tish is on the warpath. So he goes on TMZ, with Harvey Levin. And if you're just listening, he's not trying that hard. He changed his name and put lipstick on, and that's about it. Here he is explaining.
What did he change his name to, Jerry?
He changed his name. All right, I'll get to that before we get to his interview. You know why he changed his name to Alexis? That's his ex-wife's name. He took her name when he decided to become a woman. He took his ex-wife's name. You think that's bad? Here's from the New York Post this morning. Alexis Black ran afoul of women at the gym, including singer-songwriter Tish Hyman, who accused him of exposing himself and harassing her. Black, formerly known as Grant Freeman, pleaded guilty in 2022 to savagely beating his wife, Alexis Freeman, causing a compound fracture to her jaw and other serious injuries. So this guy broke his wife's face, beat her so savagely. He's been convicted of both domestic violence and drug trafficking charges in the past. He's faced a slew of other arrests, records show. His mugshot, he's a guy, he's got a beard. Obviously. This is the guy Democrats are protecting. This is the guy liberals think belongs in a woman's room, a guy who beat his wife so badly he broke her face. He belongs, he has a right to live his truth, to be himself, to be comfortable in his own skin. This is the insanity of this, that one person, one mentally disturbed person, one really bad person matters more than all the women that he makes uncomfortable. That's the position of the Democrat Party. Here is Grant, now known as Alexis, talking to TMZ.
Were you at that moment, because she told us about a couple of different encounters, were you fully clothed at that moment?
Well, she has become aggressive with me on 4 different occasions, actually at different locations in Los Angeles at Gold's Gym. But fully clothed. I believe I was enrobed in a towel on one occasion. And this last time I was clothed the entire time.
Okay.
Again, I apologize if this is too graphic, but I just think it's important.
Let's speak truth, baby.
Okay. Have you fully transitioned?
Be clearer when you say that.
Your genitalia.
That is a process that requires a quite lengthy work. Like, for instance, I sat in a chair and had hair follicles removed from my face for 2 hours yesterday in a process called electrolysis. In order to have that surgery down there, one must have every single hair done that. And in order to do that, it would take a year or two to have that done. That's literally not even a possibility with where I am in my transition.
So look, from her perspective, I'm just wondering if you see her perspective. She's saying that she's looking at you, say, in a towel, and you still have male genitalia, and you may be transitioning, but could you understand her being uncomfortable?
Well, I certainly do not understand it, but I do get the notion of the fear mongering that she's perpetuating. The truth in the moment is far from what she is purporting it to be. Literally every time that she's done that, I've had women in the locker room comforting me because of how aggressive she was towards me.
So,
And by the way, Harvey and the other guy, they want to be so sympathetic. They talk about building another bathroom just for trans people. So you want to make gyms and wherever restaurants and to build a bathroom just for mentally ill men? What? I got a solution.
I will say though, as far as left-leaning places go, this was a kind of a hard-hitting interview.
I know, because, but here's the problem: that they think it matters that he hasn't been mutilated yet. So once he gets the surgery, it's okay. I got news for you. That's going to be more disturbing to the women in the locker room. If they have to look at a man who mutilated himself walking around their locker room. See, here's the big lie, is that Democrats and liberals and, those women who comforted him, they want to pretend that, he's a woman now because he said he's a woman. None of them believes it. He doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe he's a woman. He knows he's not a woman. They know he's not a woman. You name it. There's no Democrat out there, no activist who thinks, yeah, that's a woman. They know it's not. They just play along with his delusion. They indulge his fetish. Say, you like going in the locker room. Well, if he really, if it was really important to him, he'd just go work out and go home. I go to the gym all the time. I don't shower there. I go home. You don't have to go in the locker room and get naked. He does it because he loves it. He does it because he's disturbed. He's not right in the head. You saw him. You heard him. Does anyone honestly think that's a woman? We lived through this insane time, 10 years ago till, fairly recently, where we all had to play along and live a lie and indulge the fantasy of these insane people like him. Well, I think that's coming to an end, thankfully. I mean, Democrats haven't come along yet, but they will. You know why? Because they can't defend their position. It's not helping them. It hurt them in the last election. It's going to hurt them again next year and again in 2028, because their candidates are going to be asked, do you really think that guy belongs in the women's room? What if your daughter's in there? I mean, that woman, Tish Hyman, she looks like she can handle herself. She looks like he could kick his ass. What about some 14-year-old girl who just wants to go to the gym? She has to be around that freak just because, he decided one day after crushing his wife's face, after leaving his wife, his real identity was, I'm a woman and I'm going to take my wife's name and pretend I'm a woman. By the way, he said he went to a number of gyms. He's not content to just make the women at his gym uncomfortable. He has to go to other gyms because he gets off on it. He gets aroused. I don't know if literally, but he gets aroused on the just going there. He's not there to work out. He's there to live out his fantasy, his little fetish. And it's not going to work. You got to give it up, Democrats. You got to say, wave the white flag. I know, you like to win. I know you fight to win, but you're not going to win this one. Well, they won just about everything else this week. It is, I'll admit, a good week to be a Democrat. As I said, I was looking for one little bit of good news after Tuesday night, after the elections, after Democrats went out there and ran against Trump, and we got a communist in New York City. We had a couple of far left liberals in New Jersey and Virginia. We got we're not allowed. We get California redistricting to get rid of every conservative, every Republican in the state. that voted 38% for the president. They're going to have no Republicans when Gavin Newsom has done lots of bad news. So I see in Minneapolis, I expected the Somalian mutant Omar Matei to win. He was out there waving the Somali flag, doing rallies in Somalian. And I said, what is it? Fete?
Omar Fete.
Omar Fete. We played you some of his appearances, his campaign appearances. He was just like Mamdani. He's a communist. He said his top priority is Somalia. This was in Minneapolis. Well, I'm thinking, oh, good news. He lost. Well, you know who won? Jacob Fry. Remember Jacob Fry? He's the guy who fake cried at George Floyd's funeral, knelt down and cried. He's the guy who signed legislation to allow them to play the call of prayer at 5 a.m. in Minneapolis. Well, here he is at his victory rally, his victory speech. I'm just going to say it wasn't a good night for sanity in Minneapolis. There's no difference between this guy and the Captain Phillips guy. In fact, this is worse. This is an American born in America, raised in America, who holds office in a big city in the Midwest. He's been captured. He's been converted, essentially. Converted. Now he's doing speeches in Somalian. An American, Jacob Fry. Check this out.
Assalamu alaikum. Habin wanaagsan. Magacayga waa Yaroub Farid. Qofka magaalada Minneapolis. Ko laba sata. Afar shan. Magacayga waa Yaroub Farid. Doka Magalada, Minneapolis.
Unbelievable. I mean, I guess I understand it. The whole crowd, the whole room is Somalian. And the American guy, born and raised in Arlington, Virginia, went to William and Mary. That's sad. Then went to Villanova. Then went to Minnesota and got into politics. Then became mayor of a big city. There he is crying, weeping over the casket of a guy who died of a drug overdose while resisting arrest. Fake crying. There's a guy who allowed his city to be burned to the ground because a career criminal died in police custody. That guy, that's bad. That could be the worst. This could be the worst result of them all. Not only did they, take over New York City and Dearborn, Michigan. The mayor of Dearborn, the guy who said an American who grew up there, remember that story, should get out of town. He'll dance. He'll celebrate when he leaves town. That guy got 75% of the vote, got reelected in Dearborn. This guy got reelected in Minneapolis while running against a Somali guy. And what did he do? He completely capitulated. He learned their language and waved their flag. That's worse than the Somali guy winning. At least if the Somali guy won, you'd say, he's just looking out for his own people. Well, is Jacob Fry looking out for his own people are Americans, not Somalians, Americans. And yet he's speaking in the language of the foreigners who've taken his city, who've conquered his city. That is really sad. It is really sad what's happened in Minneapolis, what's happened in New York. And I guess we just have to fight them next time. And it's not going to change. It's just going to be, next time, next term, when this next term's up, the Somali guy's going to win. And Minneapolis, the takeover will be complete. All right, before we go, I have time to get to this. I want to get to this because, again, more bad news. This is why, I'm hopeful that James Comey will be convicted, will go to jail. I'm hopeful Letitia James. I'm hopeful Clapper and Brennan will be charged, tried, convicted. These are traitors. These are criminals. But It's going to be hard, especially if it's in D.C. or even in Northern Virginia. It's going to be hard to get a jury of their peers to convict them. Why? Because they're on the same team. They don't care. Yesterday in Washington, this is amazing to me. Here it is from CBS. A man who was charged with throwing a sandwich at a federal agent was found not guilty of one count of a misdemeanor after a jury trial in D.C. Remember this case? His name is Sean Dunn. He's the guy, a protester, who went up to an ICE agent, yelling at him, "Get out of here," and then just took his Subway sub. I think we found out what it was. What was it? Turkey or something with all the fixings, onions, peppers, and everything, tomatoes.
It's probably a sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But he took the sub and he just threw it at the agent, hit him in the chest. So he's charged with a misdemeanor. Couldn't get the felony for the misdemeanor for assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with a federal officer. I don't even know why there was a trial. It was on video. We all saw it. We watched it. I don't even know what the defense was. He went to trial. They admitted he did it, but said it was free speech and it didn't really cause any harm. His attorney's first words, this is attorney Julia Gatto, quote, "He did it. He threw the sandwich." And here it is. He just takes a sub, boom, right on the chest, and then runs away. You thought that was embarrassing. Him in his pink shirt, sashaying away from the cops. They chase him down, they grab him, they arrest him. That is on video. And they got a jury, I assume 12 of his peers, to vote not guilty. All 12 to vote not guilty. Why? Because they're from D.C. and they're Democrats and they voted 93% for Kamala and they hate ICE, just like Sean Dunn hates ICE. That was bad. Him getting acquitted for this was bad. Here he is on the courthouse steps celebrating. Again, this is the same place where they put thousands or 1,500 January 6th protesters in prison for walking through the Capitol. We know the truth. There was 100 to 150 violent protesters. The rest were peaceful. We know that we've heard the stories. Grandmas with cancer who walked through the Capitol waving American flags.
A ton of feds.
Among the 270 FBI agents as part of the Nancy Pelosi setup. We know that. But they went to prison. They did hard time. They convicted everybody. There were no acquittals by jury on that case for people who said, "Oh, it was free speech." I mean, that was free speech. This was an assault on a federal officer on camera. And the jury votes unanimously to acquit him. And here he is outside the courthouse taking his victory lap.
I am so happy that justice prevails in spite of everything happening. And that night, I believe that I was protecting the rights of immigrants. And let us not forget that the Great Seal of the United States says e pluribus unum. That means from many, one. Every life matters, no matter where you came from.
Guy's on drugs.
Oh my God. He believes that was his defense, that I was protecting illegal immigrants. Well, the job of the guy he pelted with the sub, his job was to remove illegal aliens. He was doing his job. He was following the law. He was enforcing the law. And this asshole says, "You know what? I'm going to take my sub and pelt him with it and run away." And he gets to stand in front of the courtroom. I was protecting immigrants. First of all, how did that protect immigrants? And what did you think you were going to accomplish exactly by hitting the guy with your sub? What did you accomplish? He thinks he's a martyr now. He's a hero. Yeah, out there protecting criminals, rapists, murderers, drug dealers. That was what he was doing. And the jury lets him walk. It's almost like, what's the point in D.C.? What's the point of enforcing the law if people just walk? If a jury lets him walk out of court, disgusting. But A lot of disgusting developments these days. But all right, that will do it for today. Have any good comments? Let me check. Oh, you put a lot of them over here. Do we have time for this? Yeah, we got a minute. As Ironhead always says, the comments suck. Dominique says, Democrats need to be thrown in jail for treason. Yeah, it would be nice if they arrested somebody. I forget treason. They can't even get a conviction on throwing a sub sandwich at a federal agent. What is that? Mavis says, Nancy Pelosi will pay for her evil deeds in the end. Well, she's a devout Catholic, so she believes she'll be judged. I wonder how she thinks she's going to do when she goes before her maker. I think it's entertaining. XXXY, that's it. He's right. We need more people like Tish Hyman. Tish Hyman, again, they picked the wrong victim. She is going to be everywhere. She did an interview this morning on Fox. She's going to be everywhere making the case, the right case, that this freak doesn't belong in the women's room. You are right. Congress can lie, and it's okay. It's true. Congress can lie. As long as they're on the floor of the House or the Senate, they have immunity. They can lie. Hit the Democrats in their pockets and watch them fold. Stop their pay and freeze their assets, says Dominique. Well, that's not going to happen. John Kennedy, senator from Louisiana, tried to introduce a bill to stop the pay of Congress yesterday. And you know who stopped them? Rand Paul, another Republican, said, no, we should get paid. No, we're special. It's not going to happen. They can't get anything done. They're going to lose. I hate to say it, but we are going to lose this fight because we just don't fight like they do. It's just not the same. They'll gouge your eyes out. They'll kick in the nuts. They'll throw a sub at you, and we'll sit back and say, I don't know if we should go that far. It's a little drastic. That's the difference. It's too bad. But anyway, RIP to Nancy Pelosi, the dirtiest fighter of them all. I'll say it. To be honest, I wish you were on my side. I hate her. She's corrupt. She's a criminal. I wish she were on my team. I wish we fought like Nancy Pelosi. But that will do it for today and for this week. Thanks for watching.